So let's talk about something that makes people tense.
Oh, fun.
We're going to talk about money.
Oh, good.
The Dallas Morning News had an interesting. It was Corbett Smith. We're talking about another Corbett Smith piece. This is like Corbett Smith.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be ready for us to be like, hey, quit hovering over my Twitter account and my byline.
But we can't help it that he posted
awesome
something
at his
interesting.
job.
Something interesting.
Yeah.
So he put together there are either 62 or 63 indoor practice facilities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Okay. Either 62 or 63 plus 9 more that are being built. Okay. They range from everywhere from Burleson Centennial all the way down to Wiley to the Colony, all across DFW. And it is everywhere. It is everywhere. These indoor practice facilities are everywhere. They are the new wave. Do they give teams an advantage? I'm not sure there's particular evidence to suggest that simply having an indoor facility makes your team better.
Right, an indoor facility by itself
No.
does not equal anything special in particular.
No, but what it does mean is that you have a program with some money to throw around. You've got a little bit of money if you are able to build yourself an indoor practice facility. And there's obvious advantages to that, right? You can practice when it's raining. You can practice where it's climate controlled if it's 150 million degrees outside, as it is wont to do in Texas.
Sure.
There are clear advantages to having an indoor practice facility. I don't think that there is a particular cause and effect that if you have an indoor practice facility, therefore you are better. But I think it speaks to a bigger issue, which is, I believe, something you and Avi are going to get into tomorrow.
A little bit.
Is about the growing influx of money into Texas high school football. And it's a tense thing to talk about because, as we talked about with Brian Curtis last week, we think of high school football as this beacon of purity. We think of it as, the NFL, that's just so focused on profits and they mistreat their players and stuff. Well, let's take it down a level. College, it's a little more pure, but man, they should probably be paying their players, and there's just some things that don't feel right about college. Let's take it down a step. Here we are, high school football. This is where it's just pure sports.
It's magical, untainted,
sure.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we also know that that's not the case. We also know, because there is data to back up, that money has a lot to do, or at least has some effect, on whether or not you're going to win a state championship, especially at the 6A and the 5A levels. Okay? So I've crunched these numbers before about this, that you are more likely to win a state championship if you have an median household income in your community of above the state average. So, for example, in this decade, or in this century, so since 2000, there have been 64, what we now call 6A and 5A state champions.
Correct.
Okay?
Yep.
Considering it's a median income, that would mean that there are equal number of people below that.
Correct.
Below the median income.
I'm not great at math, but this is all lining up so far.
For the state, the state median income as of the last census was $51,900. That was the median income.
Okay.
Because it's a median, half would be below that, half would be above that. So you would think, okay, 64 state champions.
Right.
That means 32 should be above, 32 should be below. Max, would you care to guess how many state champions in 6A and 5A have come from communities with a median household income below the state average? Or the state median.
Should I pretend I haven't seen this graphic that's up on the screen right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I bet it's about the same, Greg.
17.
Oh, my gosh.
17. Basically about 1 in 4.
Okay.
Okay? Which actually bears out with what we saw this year.
Yeah.
Katy, Richmond George Ranch, Cedar Park, all pretty comfortably above
Right.
the state median income. Galena Park North Shore, below.
Right.
1 in 4. That means
Sure.
1 of the 4 champions, on average, will come from a less affluent area, and 3 of the champions will come from a more affluent area. These are just what the numbers say, guys.
Sure.
And so when we talk about money in Texas high school football, I don't think we're talking necessarily about the facilities.
Right.
Although the facilities obviously have a lot to do with it. You know, they have something to do with it. If you play in these nicer facilities, that is more indicative of a more affluent school.
Yes.
Okay. But what we talk about when we talk about money in high school football is, I think, the biggest thing is the availability of training for these kids.
Right.
For
We've
example,
talked about this a few times.
For
Yeah.
example, if you've got John Smith who plays at a less affluent school and John Smith who plays for a more affluent school.
Sure.
John Smith from the more affluent school, practice is over or it's in the off season, he's probably going to go to
Camps.
or he's
Yeah.
going to go to training. He's going to
Training.
go to a private trainer to take a tenth of a second off his 40.
Right.
You know what John Smith over here in the less affluent school is doing?
He better be getting a summer job.
Probably working.
Yeah.
He's probably not having access to the kind of training and the kind of focus time that you can focus on improving your game that the bigger school, that the kid from the more affluent school is going to have. And you see this more and more, and money is coming in and in and in, and it tends to be the rich getting richer. We saw Frisco ISD signed what did the final numbers end up being?
$1.7 million is the total value of the deal.
A $1.7 million deal with Frisco ISD.
Yeah.
You know, and these deals are becoming more and more common.
Right.
That they want to sponsor. You know, you want to have sponsors around the stadium. You know, you've got sponsors on the run-through tunnels.
Right.
You know, you've got sponsors around the stadiums. You've got sponsors handing out stuff as you're walking into the stadium. And when you get more and more into it, including the television part of it, when the UIL, and it's not an if, it's a when the UIL relaxes their television rules and lets these games be televised, that's going to bring more of an influx of cash. The question is that going to even the playing field, or is that going to make the rich get richer?
Right.
That's the biggest question for me. If recent history is any guide, it's probably the latter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at the economy right now.
Right.
You know, the 1%, like
Doing
you,
all right. Give me a break.
you guys are doing
man.
fine, right? How often do you get your ivory tower cleaned? Is that like a
Says the guy going on a vacation
weekly
while the
thing?
rest of us have to work.
is that a weekly thing?
All-inclusive resort, right?
Is that
5 days?
Oh, is that your comeback?
Yeah.
I go on one vacation a year, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh.
You don't see me going on vacation.
Hey, where are you going in April?
Not going anywhere.
That's a filthy lie.
I'm not going anywhere.
We'll get to that. But my point is that Texas high school football is an industry like anything else. And if you have more money, you tend to have more power. And I wonder...
And go to beaches in Mexico.
I wonder what the direction of Texas high school football is in the future. And I wonder... Now you could argue, you know, and there are certainly arguments to be made, and economists will probably get at me to say, hey, by the way, that just means that these are more centralized around urban areas, which is true. That's where the majority of the wealth is there. But you should still see, you know, less affluent areas of cities winning titles at a more frequent rate if money was no impact. So, it's an interesting topic. I'm sure
we
we'll
could probably talk about that for another hour.
We probably could. We probably could, but we have a guest.